English translation, 77th contact. Tuesday, 31st May, 1977, 2107 HRs.
You have granted me a wish I have had for a long time. I have always been tempted to stand in the middle of some group members and then just disappear without a trace. To be taken away to a contact like that is something different. I do not think anyone noticed that I suddenly disappeared from the middle of the group, brought here by your teletransmitter, or whatever it is called.
But in fact, someone noticed something, at least Engelbert, but that is not why I brought you here, but for other reasons. Manara has told me your concern about the meditation center. You have already received the exact dates for this from me, so there should be no more difficulties for the preliminary work. I will clarify the exact place for the mentioned center in the next days personally, after which you can then do what you should do. At the time when I have worked out the exact dates, I will tell you the result. But now hear what I have to explain to you. With regard to the group composition at its core, analyses that have been running and registered for 3 months have shown that certain members do not meet the requirements that will be necessary for the great task ahead, which is why certain changes have to be made. However, we ourselves do not wish to give an opinion on this because we are not able to analyze the mentality of the persons concerned in the manner that would be necessary for such an opinion. In certain respects, we are bound by limitations that do not allow us to penetrate deeper into the thought spheres of a life form, which is why all the records of the individual group members have been handed over to the High Council for assessment. The Council is to advise on the final composition of the groups, but also on the division and determination of the periodic times of the stays in the Sohar Center. Especially in these matters, we ourselves do not have the necessary knowledge, because many forms of human life on Earth are still foreign or incomprehensible to us, primarily the mental forms. Due to the lack of this knowledge, we are not yet in a position to work out the individual facts and to advise you as to why we are handing these things over to the High Council for clarification and evaluation.
I think that is good. But by when should we be informed?
It will be by the beginning of July at the latest.
But that is quite late, because then maybe we will not be finished with the center.
Do not worry about that, because I will clarify these matters as soon as I can. Thus, you will get a corresponding orientation in less than 15 days.
That is good.
Those are the things I had to say to you. Further, I want to suggest the following to you. Teach all your group members that they are currently going through a particularly difficult time, for the peak of evil has not yet been reached. The negative intelligences and the South Brazilian group known to you live in vain hatred and the will to destroy, whereby they may even try the last, which is why you, and quite especially you, should be careful, because our protective measures for you and the group, on the other hand, are also limited in certain forms. So do not take these things too lightly, do not travel far, do not leave your country under any circumstances, and do not go more than 30 kilometers from where you live. Even in this you are not completely safe, because from the very beginning, in addition to the 2 treacherous elements mentioned to you by Manara, 3 other elements have crept into your surroundings, which it is premature to mention to you. This is because in a short time you will receive firm evidence of these treacherous machinations, to which you could react angrily if you knew the names of the 3 elements. Even so, your nerves will be strained because certain guesses will cause you trouble. It is better for you, however, that for the time being you have only guesses in you, and that until you have come to terms with things and recognize the treacherous elements yourself. But this will be the time when you have already outgrown these new intrigues and they no longer excite you.
Once again, these are beautiful prospects.
That will last for some time for you, but also for all group members. Not only the treacherous elements in the group and the negative intelligences of Giza and the group in Brazil drive a malicious play of forces, but also the constellations of the stars and planets assert their influence in the strongest form. At least 16 years should pass before these things reach their peak. Depending on environmental and other external influences, as well as the machinations of the treacherous group members and hostile outsiders, however, this time can be extended by 2 to 3 or 4 decades before the forces begin to slacken. In the most vicious case, there is therefore the possibility that the peak will not be reached until the end of the millennium, after which at least a few years of flattening would have to be taken into account. Thus it stands that under the most difficult circumstances, the whole negative time can extend round 30 years or more very noticeably. Therefore be very careful and watchful. Accidents, intrigues, lies and slander and other malignities will happen to you with all their might in great mass and many forms. And the power of evil is so great that individual group members begin to doubt the truth and cherish the thought of apostasy. These are particularly endangered, for they are most easily influenced by the dark and destructive forces of all kinds, which also in daily life lead them into many dangers, which they often find extremely difficult to control or circumvent. A particular danger lies with them in their dealings with their means of locomotion, because in this line, not only is a negative influence exerted on them by the malignant intelligences and the constellations swinging waves of the stars, but also because they are influenced by the negative utterances of third persons, which are partly life-threatening forms or which at least raise doubts about the truth. These are forms of expressions and assertions which are applied to them, which are able to cause a strong thought contemplation at the wheel while driving, which can lead to bad accidents. So that those influenced by third persons, mostly family members or friends and acquaintances, etc., are also spreading doubts about the truth and against the truth in such a strong form that nightmares are thereby caused, and thoughts of apostasy arise in forms which are difficult to control. Therefore, all group members who react to these negative influences to a particularly high degree and are susceptible to them should make a particularly strong and conscious effort to control the issues, should knowingly defend themselves against those who penetrate them negatively. You yourself should try to take care of all those who are subject to negative influences and help them in word and deed.
I always do that when I am given the opportunity to do so. But I can only try to help if there is a certain trust in me and if one comes to me when there are such things going on. I have said that to everyone time and time again. But if one does not come to me, how can I try to help? Every really free minute I spend is already used to distract malignant breakaway influences from where the devil knows from different group members. If necessary, swinging waves emanate from them, which I catch in different cases. But I really cannot be everywhere, and I can only have a necessary conversation when people come to me.
These things are known to me, and I know that you are trying very hard. With all your honest and reasonable group members, however, the thought has gained the upper hand that you are currently too burdened, which is why you should not be bothered. That is also the real reason why one cannot get to you with these currently quite evil raging concerns.
Man, I have often said that I am always there for the group members at any hour, day or night, and that every single one can come to me at any time. That is all I can really say and do.
If that is so, then it is of correctness. But this is still another time for all of them, because that they come to you with these problems is of the greatest importance for them all. But now I want to let you go back, for down there everyone is in great excitement. Because all your friends have meanwhile noticed that suddenly, without leaving a trace, you just disappeared out of their area. Let yourself slide into the shaft. Farewell and be vigilant.
Ha! I am having fun with you again, Ptah. A few hundred meters of empty depth yawn beneath the shaft.
It is less than 900 meters, or are you suddenly afraid?
I mean, I am just kidding, which you obviously did not understand. Take care then, dear friend, and greet everyone nicely. 900 meters. Oh, man. Then let me do it.
Your fun is all...
Addendum. Unfortunately, I did not quite hear the last sentence of Ptah anymore, because already when he began to talk, I stepped into the exit shaft and fell into emptiness, to stand at the same moment again at the same place on the scaffolding, where Ptah had taken me away about 35 minutes before, from where I then went down, across the yard to the house to have a drink, after which I returned to the shed and onto the scaffolding and turned back to my work.